Yeah.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I got a chair's remarks. I won't be available until after.
Don't worry, I'll be there if you need us. But
Yeah, right.
I didn't even thought, you know, in my mind's eye, we're all gonna get together and have a good time.
I changed it a little.
Yeah.
So it was a good eye-opener for me as you continue to learn this.
Did you see the one I read?
together.
Yeah.
I mean, I was literally shocked.
So,
over the textbook.
I just said the original Tennessee started the RGC.
If you need us, if you end up with somebody filing against us, you know you didn't need us, and they'd be a fool to run against you, those kind of things. I hadn't thought of that, so,
Yeah.
but it was good.
There's,
From a understanding, the largest we've had.
Oh, good.
I was shocked at
sometimes
sometimes I have checks from other people and that kind of thing, so. You
Well,
just,
that helps. I know. It's such a crazy
So
life
so
issues
I
to.
think that changed.
I was trying to explain to my daughter, I said, that may not be there. I said, but you had 10 and 100,000.
You never know. You never know. But it comes down to the money,
Right.
you know, and we did.
She said something about it.
Throws their name on the ballot at the last second.
Understand her drift.
What I did last time.
Cautiously optimistic, but that's the best you can be. Is
Anything.
there's contested sheriff races all over the state, which is highly unusual, so.
Well,
And it
Never
doesn't
knew what it'll be.
deal.
Oh, I can't wait to hear the rest of that story.
There's some there.
track.
I mean, no, you will probably hear it fine.
Well, it's like, I talked to the new sheriff yesterday, she's saying, you know, I'm being thrust right out of the fire, we're here immediately 24/7.
So, which is fine, but I think
I
it's,
tried to poke a little bit, but not too much, I don't know.
Yeah.
He kept it pretty
I don't know
close.
if it's necessary.
He'll come on.
This is part of the project.
It always does.
It always does.
So,
Well, good. I know I had to buzz out of your event at 6, and grandkids coming over for an hour and a half, and it's like anytime I can see that.
Oh, absolutely.
We were actually watching them while their mom and dad went up to the DMV with Rick's mom to do a transfer of a vehicle. And I went, yeah, you don't need two little kids running around. And they were at like 6:20, and they were supposed to close at 7, but they stopped giving out numbers because the line was already out the door. And my kids live up in Big Lake. So my daughter and son-in-law, grandmothers came in from Big Lake to meet with my mother-in-law and go up there. And it's just, screwing up the last minute there. Father, a couple years ago, bought a new property. My mother-in-law's in on it. You know, it was small. And, you know, she was giving the kids a really, really good deal. And we wanted to say, and they were paying some for it, but wanted to say it was like, it was a gift. And she didn't have an affidavit of survivorship, but she had the death certificate. No, so it took 3 visits to the DMV before it finally happened yesterday.
Yeah, I've been through that, I know that it's not an easy process.
What a pain.
Was it one of them?
which one's the most accurate?
I hadn't even started to think about
Judgments.
what's it? Oh, no, that's my understanding.
Judge trial.
Yeah. Freshen it up. It was nice today. Yeah, if you need us, we're certainly going to be there, but we know you didn't need us.
Well, it depends on that. I think there's 4 felony warrants. There were tremendous. just traffic type related.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order, and we'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. And if the clerk could take the roll, please.
Commissioner Look.
Here.
Commissioner Brastad.
Here.
Commissioner Kordiak. Commissioner Silveraja.
Here.
Commissioner West. Here. Commissioner Gamache.
Here.
Commissioner Schulte.
Here.
First item is tax claims and abatements. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Motion carries. Then we have the review of checks issued from Finance and Central Services and from Human Services. Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Been moved by Commissioner Schulte, second by Commissioner West. Further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Then we have approval of our minutes from our April 24th County Board meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
Moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Commissioner Look, second by Commissioner Kordiak. Any additions or corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Well, we have 4 items today under Chair's remarks. First, we are honored to have Judge Bethany Fountain Lindbergh join us again to provide a follow-up report about Anoka County Law Day, which was a huge success. It was on April 27th at the Government Center and Courthouse, and the goal was to make it easier for people to really understand how to navigate the court system, clear up some outstanding issues, or just learn more about what actually happens in our courthouse. It was very busy, many students there, very excited and eager to learn, and a lot of residents coming in to take care of business. And I understand people were actually lining up even at like 7:30 in the morning, which is incredible. So thank you for joining us and sharing some results of this fantastic event.
Thank you. It was a busy day, and I appreciate all of the support that the commissioners gave. It did start very early in the morning, earlier than we expected. We certainly had people lining up to go through the legal clinics at 7:30, even though the start time was 9. We had about double the amount of students this year, and that was exciting. They had presentations from local leaders on how to eventually get a career in that type of job. We had investigators from the sheriff's office talk about a day in the life. We had canine presentation and mock trials. So that was all very exciting and well attended. We tried something new this year, which was to present continuing legal education credits for local professionals. That was brand new. That was free of charge. There was a total of 4 continuing legal education credits, and we had about 60 attorneys attend those sessions. So that was very well presented. In terms of our clinical programs, overall saw an increase of about 36% of people coming in and taking advantage of the legal services. Some of the increases included almost a doubling of people coming in for guardianship, conservatorship, power of attorney, healthcare declarations, and probate type issues. We had about a 40% increase in expungements. That was good to see. We had an additional increase in family cases of 12%. We had 75 people come in and obtain free legal advice on their family law issues. The driver's license clinic doubled, went from 64 cases to 132 cases that we serviced. The greatest increase this year was in the warrant and traffic area, where we served 650 cases. That was a little overwhelming. Staff worked very hard. We actually have a day set aside this Friday for people that we couldn't service. There's about 70 people coming back because we stopped taking names at 2:00 for that particular clinic, and we still just couldn't get to everyone. So we offered to bring them back another day to sort of wrap up. So it's only for those people that showed up and waited have an opportunity to come back on Friday. Overall, though, we had triage with more volunteers this year, so it went smoothly. We were overwhelmed in the criminal area, that's for sure, and we'll try to figure out what to do better next year. But that's a good problem to have, and we were very excited to have the additional students and hope that that program remains strong. So that's sort of a recap. I'm happy to answer any questions, but that's sort of where the numbers fall out this year.
Well, thank you. It was certainly an honor to be able to kick off the event and welcome so many young people to the courthouse and to the government center. And Law Day just continues to get bigger and bigger each year, and I'm very excited to see what you have planned for 2019.
Thank you.
If I can, Madam Chair, a little bit, Judge Lindberg, judges here in Anoka County were given statewide jurisdiction, were they not, to take care of warrants?
Yes.
Could you address that for the commissioners a little bit? So it wasn't just for Anoka County, it actually functioned for the state of Minnesota.
That's true. I think almost everyone that came through had an Anoka County case. So what our hope was that for the Anoka County residents or for folks who had an Anoka County case, we could just wrap up all of their cases that they had throughout the state. We're not talking about serious crimes. We're talking about trying to wrap up and give them a new start on smaller, lower level crimes or traffic offenses, so that when they left the courthouse, if they had one case or they had 6 cases and they were from out state, we were able to give them a fresh start and be able to drive with a valid license, pay all their fines kind of in one lump sum, and put that behind them and go forward. That is something that I have to petition the Supreme Court for, and Chief Justice Gilday was kind enough to grant us that authority for one day. So,
Incredible.
Thank
And a
you.
great service, so thank you so much. I know there was a lot of planning and a lot of volunteers to help to make the day a success, but thank you so much for your leadership.
well, thank you for all your support that you offered. It's a collaboration between the county and the courts, and that worked out so well. It's pleasant to work with you folks.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our second item under Chair's remarks today is the annual report from Dr. Quinn Strobel, the Chief Medical Examiner for Anoka County. This is a very busy office which provides death investigations, autopsy services, education, and consultation for Anoka County and another 22 counties. So, Dr. Strobel?
Hi, good morning. Thank you very much for having me today. And I will try to keep up with myself on my PowerPoint here. There we go. So last year for 2017, the medical examiner's office had 8,246 deaths reported to us. You can see the nice increasing trend as we do gather more counties. In Anoka County, 1,753 deaths were reported to us. Our total autopsies, of course, are also increasing steadily. We had 866 last year, and 156 of those were from Anoka County alone. I'm going to go over some general numbers. There were 42 autopsies where the person was deemed to die of natural causes, and as is typical, the vast majority of those people died of heart disease. There were 16 motor vehicle fatalities, 10 fewer than the preceding year, which is good. And as you'll unfortunately notice, for the non-natural manners of death, males predominate throughout. So 11 of those 16 decedents were male. The youngest was 16 years old. There were 3 motorcyclists and 4 pedestrian fatalities. There was also a small aircraft crash where 2 people died. Alcohol was present in 3 of the motor vehicle fatalities, and methamphetamine was present in 1 incident. Of the non-motor vehicle related accidental deaths, 29, it's kind of the number, let me get to the number here. So there were 29 that were attributed to an overdose specifically, 39 deaths, as you see on the chart here, that were significantly influenced by a substance use. For example, someone died of exposure because they were intoxicated with a substance. So that's why the number 39 is different than the number on the list. So 29 directly attributed to an overdose, and the ages were 22 to 57, and again, vast majority were male, 23. Of note, there were 11 incidents of heroin being detected, and as you probably are all seeing in the news lately, these fentanyls or fentanyl analogs, there's Furanol, fentanyl, carfentanil, there were 9 incidents of those. Now, again, some of these may be in combination with heroin, they may be alone. Some deaths have 3, of these fentanyl analogs. In certain situations, I would think people don't know what they're getting. But also, as we hear from family and friends, sometimes people are specifically looking for these stronger drugs, looking for the fentanyls. So again, there were 9 incidents of those last year. And we are picking up a lot of these drugs. We recently transitioned to a new toxicology laboratory, and we're seeing things that we've never seen before. So good and bad. And our turnaround time, which hopefully helps the sheriff's office, is greatly reduced with this new laboratory. So we can get information to law enforcement faster in case they want to follow up on maybe where this person got the substance. There were 6 homicides last year in Anoka County, which is the most we've seen since our 5-year chart here. And then 5 of the 6 deaths were due to gunshot wounds. There were 45 deaths attributed to suicide. Again, the vast majority were male, 32. The youngest was 18 years. The oldest was 87. The average age was 44. Alcohol was listed as a factor in 6 of those cases, and methamphetamine was present in 3 cases. And the majority of those deaths as well were due to gunshot wounds. There were 2 deaths classified as undetermined. A 17-year-old male was a pedestrian struck by an automobile. The intent of the incident is not known, therefore it wasn't classified as a homicide or accident at this point. A 1-month-old girl died of undetermined causes. She passed away in her car seat. And a 28-year-old male died of causes that we have not yet determined. In some situations where it is a young person where substance use may be a factor, we hold on to samples longer, and we actually did rerun this gentleman's samples with our new lab, and still we found nothing. There were 6 incidents where someone found bones, and we examined them and found them to be not human. And then lastly, 1,374 cremations were approved for Anoka County fatalities. And there we are. Thank you for your time and attention. And again, it is an honor to continue to be your medical examiner. And we have such overwhelming support from the board, from law enforcement, from our administrator. It is a wonderful place to work. And so, and we have a new doctor starting. We're very happy. Dr. Veena Singh will be starting at the end of this month, just in time for Dr. Ash to go on maternity leave. And so we should be full strength by August. So.
Anyone have any questions or comments? Commissioner Look?
I'm sure. Always appreciate the report. It's a little chilling, no pun intended. You had indicated earlier that 1,753 deaths were reported to you.
Correct.
Are there more deaths that occur that aren't reported?
Yes, and I had that number, and I think it was somewhere around 1,900 to 2,000. Our investigator had a little Post-it note here for me. No Post-it note now. So, and a lot of deaths are only reported to us just because they are cremations as well. So they would be, in the 1,487 jurisdiction declined. That would be a mix of hospice, cremation onlys, and then natural deaths at home. But the majority of deaths do get reported to us because of the cremation issue. But yes, if someone dies in a nursing home or of natural causes in a hospital, those deaths won't be reported to us.
Other questions or comments? Well, thank you so much, Dr. Strobel, for your great work and that of your entire team, and for the report. It's always interesting and kind of gives us a sense as to some of the trends that are happening within the community as well. So always good information for us to be aware of, and just appreciate your clarity and your expertise and all that you do. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Our third item today is the opportunity to recognize the outstanding work of our staff who have some of the most difficult jobs within public service. As Chair of our Public Safety Committee, I'd like to call on Commissioner Brasted to lead our recognition of National Correctional Officers Week.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This first week in May is set aside to honor the brave men and women who work in both our Sheriff's Office and our Community Corrections Department. Unless you've done it, it's hard to understand the demanding and dangerous nature of their work. Our detention deputies and correction officers and employees maintain a safe environment in the jail and our correctional facilities, for which we are very grateful. As part of National Correction Officers Week, I'm going to ask Sheriff James Stewart and Dylan Workington, our Director of Community Corrections, to share more about staff and the service they provide. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Commissioners. Thank you for having us. For the record, my name is James Stewart, and it is my privilege to serve you as your Sheriff of Anoka County, and I thank you for having us this morning. Dylan and I are standing, at least conceptually, shoulder to shoulder on this. As we come together to number one, say thank you for your partnership in honoring and recognizing our staff. We see that they do amazing things day in and day out. They're in a very difficult job. These are men and women of character and integrity who willingly put themselves into a very dangerous environment and into an environment in which they're expected to wear every hat. They, as you know, they basically run mini communities, and within those communities they're expected to provide a wide array of services, and oftentimes, again, putting themselves in harm's way. And so we're very appreciative of the work they do. We appreciate that you acknowledge that work as well, and I just want to say thank you this morning.
Madam Chair and Commissioners, my name is Dylan Workington. I'm the Director of Community Corrections. I too want to just say thank you for the recognition of our staff. We have individual kind of recognition events that are going to be occurring this week in their honor as well. And it's a time to, as Sheriff Stewart indicated, they wear so many different hats, 365 days a year, every holiday, every shift. These folks come to work, working with people who are probably at one of the lowest points in their life. And tirelessly managing and modeling pro-social interactions, encouragements, dealing with critical incidences, down to mundane things like making sure meals are served and medications are delivered and all sorts of different things. And so just want to say thank you for your recognition of our staff, but also thank you to these staff who work every day, even when we're off, they're working. And so we very much appreciate the efforts that they put in each and every day. Thank you.
Well, thank you to both of you, as well as your staff, for really that crucial role that you play in ensuring that our community is kept safe. So appreciate that. And at this time, I'd like to put forward and invite the board to join with me on Resolution 2018-64, which honors the hard work of these dedicated professionals in Anoka County and provides special recognition to them during National Correctional Officers Week, May 6th through the 12th. And further discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carried. Our final item today is to recognize National Peace Officers Week. Often they're the first people that we turn to in moments of danger and desperation. And in fact, in 2017, there were nearly 220,000 calls for service to sheriff's deputies and local police in Anoka County, which is just staggering. I'd again like to ask Commissioner Brasted to tell us a little bit more.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Peace officers wear their uniform with honor, dedication, and integrity. It's important all citizens know and understand the problems, duties, and responsibilities of their law enforcement agencies. They are our guardians of life and property, defenders of our right to be free, warriors in the war against crime, and dedicated to the preservation of life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And for that, I am very thankful. I'd like to ask Sheriff Stewart to come back up and say a few words.
Madam Chair, Commissioners, I feel a little bit like a broken record, but I again want to start off by saying thank you. I get to see our staff doing amazing things day in and day out, and quite honestly, as we face ongoing struggles and a wide array of challenges every single day, we start out the day reading what we call the command reports, and those are the significant events from across the county the night before. And when we get to see that evil is alive and well and attacking our citizens and victimizing the people that we care about across our 21 communities, I'm very proud of the fact that people are still willing to and volunteer to put on a shield and go out there day in and day out to combat this scourge that's trying to take out so many people in so many different ways and to victimize people within our communities. And so I'm grateful for them. This is one of those situations where they acknowledge that they have to wear a wide variety of hats. They have to be everything for everyone, and at the same time, not allow themselves to make human mistakes and be subject to probably more scrutiny than most people realize or could maybe even take. And yet they continue to do that, and they willingly step up and serve our communities proudly and with honor and integrity. And one of the things that I'm really proud of within the Sheriff's Office is our staff doesn't just embrace their duties as call takers, but they also embrace their roles as ambassadors in the community. And they see it as their job to make a positive difference in the community, not just to respond to calls for service. And so for that, I'm very proud of them. As you mentioned, the week of May 15th is National Law Enforcement Memorial Week, and that's been the case since the 60s. And this year it is May 13th through 19th, 2018 on the national level. On May 15th, which is always National Law Enforcement Memorial Day, there will be services being held out in D.C. at the Law Enforcement Memorial, near the Capitol, but there's also services held in St. Paul near the Capitol at the Law Enforcement Memorial that evening for a candlelight vigil that the public is welcome to attend. We also have a local event here on Wednesday, May 16th at high noon here in the Government Center in the atrium to remember all of the law enforcement who have lost their lives during 2017, and also a special memoriam for all of the law enforcement officers who have ever lost their lives while serving the communities within Anoka County. And again, everyone is more than welcome to attend that, and we'd certainly appreciate the support. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this acknowledgement.
Again,
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
thank you, Sheriff Stewart, and all the men and women in Anoka County law enforcement. You are crucial to the public safety of our community. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to put forth Resolution 2018-65, which recognizes Peace Officer Week in Anoka County, and ask that my fellow commissioners join me in support.
Okay, discussion. Commissioner Cordia.
I'm sorry, but there was a comment, Mel. Of all the things you said, Sheriff, I was thinking about something and your comments resonated there about being all things to all people. You know, I mean, you're not just about arresting the bad guys. You make 10,000 split-second decisions that protect yourself, protect the people you're dealing with, protect the general public from kids falling out of windows to, you know, I mean, I can't imagine all the decisions that you make every single day, and every single one and every single stop is different. And you have so many successful outcomes, and you've got a well-qualified, well-trained force that is able to make those decisions that change every day. But I appreciate what they do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Commissioner Gamache.
Madam Chair, thank you. As we're recognizing that it's the Peace Officer Week, just a couple weeks ago, one of your sheriff deputies went into a home that was burning in Andover.
There you go.
And rescued an 80-year-old man, I believe, that was not able to get out. And it's those types of situations that people don't always hear about, but as a part of the duties of your staff and all your deputies. So thank them for all of that type of work that they do as well as others. But this shows the integrity and the responsibility and the courage that they have at those dangerous moments. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you again, Commissioner Brassett, and thank you, Sheriff. Again, we just want to remind everyone, the Law Enforcement Memorial to honor and remember officers who have died in the line of duty in Anoka County. The memorial, again, is Wednesday, May 16th, beginning at noon in the Government Center atrium. And if you've never been, I would encourage you to go. It truly is very, very impactful. And with that, we will go ahead and vote on the resolution. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Right, now we will move on to committee reports, beginning with Management Committee. Commissioner West.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a chair's report, and that is for the consent agenda. Excuse me.
Okay, so Commissioner West moves the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
And roll call vote.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West. Aye. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to Transportation Committee. Commissioner Schulte.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We had the opportunity to meet here in the Government Center on Monday, April 30th at 9 a.m. And we have 4 action items for you under the Highway Division. First, the committee would recommend approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of right-of-way for Broadway Avenue from east of Potomac Street to west of Kettle River Boulevard in the city of Columbus.
And I'll offer the resolution. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West. Aye. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item.
Next, the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of right-of-way for the reconstruction of Hanson Boulevard from Northdale Boulevard to Main Street in the city of Coon Rapids. And Madam Chair, I would offer the resolution.
Okay, resolution has been offered. Is there further discussion?
Madam Chair, I would just clarify again, I've done this in the past, but we have a number of projects on Hanson Boulevard over the next few years. This is kind of the middle project. It's in the heart of Coon Rapids, just north of Highway 10, and will interrupt your travels in 2019, I believe. This year, your disruption is south further, near the railroad tracks in Coon Rapids. And that disruption is real. It's significantly impacting the area. The biggest impact is there's no turn lanes. They've routed everybody into one side of the median, so it's one lane in each direction, but no turn lanes. So every time someone wants to turn left, it backs up significantly. So be aware of that. Avoid the area if you can, unless you need your car fixed. Sorry, was that advertisement? At any rate, I'll offer the resolution, Madam Chair.
And is there further discussion? Yes, certainly recognize that road construction is always frustrating and always a challenge, but when it's done, it's going to make your drive so much more efficient and so much safer. So just ask for patience in the process. And a roll call vote.
Commissioner West. Aye. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
I'm sorry, aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye. Motion carries. Next item.
And I would, jumping back to that issue just for a second, I would remind everybody, there's an open house for that project, 4:30 Thursday evening. I believe it's at the city of Coon Rapids,
Coon Rapids City Hall.
at the city hall at Coon Rapids. So if you're interested in learning more about that, this was an authorizing of the right-of-way plat, so, or acquisition of right-of-way, so it's not actually the whole project. So please come to the meeting, see what the project is, and give us your input, and we'll move on from there as we get towards construction in 2019 on that project. Third, the committee recommends approval of a resolution authorizing the acquisition of right-of-way for the replacement of a bridge and associated reconstruction of Cedar Drive in the city of Oak Grove. That is County Road 13.
I'll offer it.
A resolution has been offered. Further discussion?
Madam Chair. I would just comment that this is an old timber bridge. We've discussed it before, that needs to be replaced, and we will be doing some road repairs while we're at it. It also encompasses a rail crossing that's very near the bridge, so we'll be doing all that in one fell swoop.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West. Aye.
Motion carries. Next item.
And lastly, the committee recommends award of a contract to North Valley for the 125th Avenue Reclamation and Paving Project from Opal Street to 4th Avenue in the city of Blaine and Lino Lakes.
Move it.
I'll second it. Further discussion? Doug, do you want to talk a little bit about when this might actually take place?
Sure. Madam Chair, County Board members, my name is Doug Fisher. I'm Transportation Division Manager and County Engineer. Even though this award happens today, we are planning on waiting until school lets out before we start this construction. We're so close to the end of school, and the contractor's amenable to doing it on that schedule. Actually, and that will fit in nicely with the rest of our overlay program as well that is out for bids right now too. So they are going to wait till school's out because really there is not a very good alternate route through this part of the county. So we don't want to disrupt things this close to the end of school. So we will wait till the end of school.
And very appreciative to be able to get state funding for this as
Correct.
well?
Actually, Madam Chair, thank you for bringing that up. Actually, federal funding through the state. We're using federal funds that are dedicated to pavement rehabilitation on the national highway system. And while the majority of the national highway system resides on MnDOT system, the U.S. highway system like Highway 10 or the interstate highway system like Interstate 35W, there are segments of the national highway system on the local jurisdiction. And Anoka County does have a piece of the national highway system, and it runs on our CSA 14 or Main Street or 125th Avenue from Highway 10 in Coon Rapids to Lake Drive in Lino Lakes, and then that piece of Lake Drive down to 35W. So it connects two other components of the national highway system. This is integral corridor through the central part of Anoka County, and that's why it's on that system. And because it has that designation, it is eligible for these pavement rehabilitation funds. And so that's 80% of the cost of this project will be paid with those federal funds that were passed through MnDOT for the national highway system work.
Okay. And roll call vote.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Commissioner Look.
Aye.
Commissioner Brastad.
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West. Aye. Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Motion carries.
And Madam Chair, that concludes my report.
All right. Thank you. Commissioner Kordiak.
If I can just ask a quick question of Doug, that late 19-inch snowstorm that nobody anticipated, I'm guessing a lot of operations were pulling the plows off, changing their staffing operation, disposing of the remaining salt. I wonder how that impacted, because that was as big as any of them we have throughout the entire season. It happened in the welcome to spring.
Right.
See the comment?
Madam Chair, Commissioner Kordiak, I would say while it wasn't welcome, it wasn't unanticipated. We were ready for it, as we always are. Obviously, we had hoped to be in different mode of operation at that point in time. And actually, on my way over here right now, I noticed some of the guys were actually putting the plows in storage. And I jumped out of my car and I said, wait, are we sure? So maybe this is the rite of passage that we're finally out of it. But I would say our crews did an admirable job. We do go 24/7. As long as it's snowing, as long as it's treacherous out there, we will have plows on the road. And I will say that during this storm, at certain times, we were the only ones with plows on the road. Obviously, the cities and township, that's a whole different level of service. But even, when MnDOT pulled their plows off of the trunk highway system, we were still out there doing the job. And in that case, then we're responsible to assist with public safety events if there's necessary. We have escorted ambulance or police or fire to their destinations, whether it's on the county road system or anywhere else. So we do get called into that action. Now, thankfully, this storm, we did not have to do that, thankfully, but we were there in the event that did happen. But our guys did a tremendous job. Working around the clock. I'd say one of my equipment operators to make sure he got to the shop on time. He reports to our St. Francis shop, he rode his snowmobile to the shop. He got there quicker and, you know, safer. And, you know, some of our employees that do live, you know, away from the shop, so they could get home to their families on their local streets that probably weren't plowed, and so they could report back to us on the beginning of their next shift. You know, we did let them use four-wheel drive pickup trucks, just so they could make it home and make it back to their next shift. So, you know, we pulled out all the stops, did everything we could to make sure that we had drivers in their trucks doing their job. It's been a long winter. Our salt is depleted, but I am so proud of the effort that our crews do. They live for this, and they earn their keep. They did a fantastic job, and hopefully it's done snowing.
Well, thank you, Commissioner Kordiak, for bringing that up, because they really did do an incredible job, and you're right. You see all these comments from different people that live in different areas, and, you know, apparently we no longer have any patience for the weather. You know, people just being very frustrated and feeling like they should be able to go about their normal course of business. And, you know, to have our folks out there working around the clock, really doing an incredible job. You know, we are very proud of their efforts and just so incredibly appreciative, because people do notice that.
Madam Chair, I want to make a quick comment. Doug, I don't know if you saw the photograph. It's one of Commissioner Look's constituents. Actually, it wasn't. It was somebody in his district. They live in a county north of him, but they shot a photograph that day of the county line. In Anoka County, dry, well, it wasn't dry, it was wet but open, and the county to the north was plugged up pretty heavy with snow, and they were commenting, wow, what a difference. And they made the comment that they wish they lived a half a mile south. And I don't know if that was for property taxes or for snow plowing. They just wanted Commissioner Look's district. I'm not sure. But it was a very telling photograph. I did save it. I'll probably forward it to you at some point so you can look at that.
And
You should frame it.
And Madam Chair, Commissioner Schulte, I'm glad you brought that up. And, you know, it doesn't cost us that much more. We just, I think, do it right. We do it very effective, very efficiently. You know, and if you're not out there doing what we do, then you can get that hard pack, and it just gets worse. So, you know, some people look at us and say, oh, you know, you must be spending an awful lot of money. I said, no, actually, we're not. You know, we're just doing, I think, you know, we've boiled this thing down over the years, and we got it down to a science. We know what to do, how much salt to put down, when to be out there, when to be pre-wetting before the storm, when to be doing this, when to stay on top of it. And so that's why I'm really proud, you know, of my management team for, you know, putting all the operations in place, making sure we have the right equipment, the right chemicals, and then the workforce for executing that plan flawlessly. So it's times like this. Now, trust me, I was very unhappy and very crabby about the whole thing. But at least I knew, you know, things were going to go well. Just needed it to be over for the winter. I'm ready. Because technically, we got 2 more months of winter this budget cycle, and that's November and December. So I've had enough for right now.
Commissioner?
I appreciate the great pride that you show in your work. You express it every time you get up front.
Thank
Good for you.
Well, and if it snows, we will be blaming it on the fact that they packed the snow plows away.
Well, hopefully that storm is coming in as rain and not.
It's kind of like when you bring your umbrella, it doesn't rain.
Correct,
You know,
correct.
that kind of a thing. So, all right. Well, thank you again so much.
Thank you.
Now we'll move on to Finance and Capital Improvements Committee Chair Report. Commissioner Look.
Madam Chair, thank you. The next scheduled Finance Committee is on the 15th of this month, and the facilities folks came to me with the urgency of bringing this forward as the Chair's report. This is a part of you'll read in the background, it's part of the boiler replacement program that we have, or it's a long-term strategic replacement plan that we have. But they went out for bid on this, and it was estimated around $365,000, came in at $280,000. And you might say, well, who would be bidding that low? NAC Mechanical and Electrical Services out of Vadnais Heights was the company that put in our data center in the basement. Did an outstanding job. So we have every bit of confidence in their abilities, and certainly saving 30% on a long-term scheduled project is something that we want to jump on. The more important part is that by getting a jump on it early, they're going to be able to get it up online before the cold hits. And that's, getting it tweaked, getting it dialed in is really where it needs to be before there's issues associated with that. So therefore, the urgency. So getting right into it then, recommend the county board approve contract C000641 with NAC Mechanical and Electrical Services out of Vadnais Heights for the replacement of the Bunker Hills Activity Center boilers in an amount not to exceed $255,000.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move it.
Is there a second?
Second, Madam Chair.
Further discussion? Hearing none, roll call vote.
Commissioner Look,
Aye.
Commissioner Brassad,
Aye.
Commissioner Kordiak.
Aye.
Commissioner Silveraja.
Aye.
Commissioner West,
Aye.
Commissioner Gamache.
Aye.
Commissioner Schulte.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Cool.
Chair, that concludes my report.
Right, thank you. We had our intergovernmental committee meeting, and we had some fees that will be forwarded to the public hearing scheduled for later this month. Other than that, we had just an update on what's happening in the legislative session, and obviously there is a lot that's going to be happening in the next few weeks as it's winding down. But I know that a number of us have been down there and appreciate the great work of our team that is down there actively representing us as well. So, all right. The last thing that I will mention is just a reminder that this Saturday, May 12th, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., we will have our Senior Expo, which is a wonderful opportunity. The theme this year is Celebrate Healthy Living. There's great information booths, free pancake breakfast, blood pressure checks, mini massages, memory screening, and entertainment. And that will be Saturday, May 12th, 9 to 12, at Lord of Life Church at 1450 Nowthen Boulevard in Ramsey. So you don't have to be a senior. There are people who are caregivers for parents and others. A great opportunity to be able to gather resources and information in one location. So I would encourage you to participate in that. And other than that, wish all the mothers out there a very happy Mother's Day coming up this Sunday. And with that, meeting is adjourned.